In 1978, three major Hollywood studios offered Annette Haven contracts worth over $2 million combined. She turned down every single one. What she did instead shocked the entertainment industry and changed film history forever. This is the untold story of the most elegant rebel Hollywood ever tried to erase. Today we're diving into the extraordinary life of Annette Haven, a golden age cinema icon whose biography reveals how one woman's talent forced an entire industry to question its own prejudices. If you love deep dive film history documentaries about Hollywood's hidden legends, you're in the right place. Annette K was born in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1954 during the golden age of American cinema's most transformative decade. Las Vegas in the 1950s was a city built entirely on reinvention and spectacle, where performers could become whoever they chose to be. From age 6, Annette trained relentlessly as a dancer. She mastered ballet with Russian technique, studied jazz under Broadway veterans, and absorbed modern dance from California's emerging movement artists. By age 20, she possessed the technical precision to perform with any major dance company in America. But 1970s Hollywood offered extraordinarily limited paths for female performers. Ballet companies demanded impossible body standards that changed with each artistic director's preferences. Broadway meant years struggling in chorus lines for barely livable wages, competing against thousands with identical training. Then, in early 1974, everything changed at a Los Angeles party. A film director noticed something unusual about Annette. Not just her classical beauty, but the way she moved through space with absolute confidence and precision. He offered her a leading role in an independent film production. Most classically trained dancers would have refused immediately, viewing it as beneath their artistic standards. Annette Haven asked just one question that revealed everything about her character. Will I have complete creative input over my performance? That single question changed film history. Because Annette wasn't interested in simply performing someone else's vision, she wanted to create genuine art, regardless of whether mainstream Hollywood was ready to acknowledge it as such. Within 6 months, she had become the most sought-after performer in America's rapidly expanding independent cinema movement, bringing a dancer's physical grace and a serious artist's intellectual approach to every single frame she inhabited. By 1977, she had achieved something no performer in her industry's history had ever accomplished. What happened next forced Hollywood executives to reconsider everything they thought they knew about talent, legitimacy, and the boundaries of cinema itself. The independent film industry during America's 1970s golden age was experiencing explosive commercial growth. Major theaters in New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco were screening these productions alongside mainstream Hollywood features. Box office revenues were reaching unprecedented levels, with some films earning millions. But despite this commercial success, most performers were still treated as completely interchangeable by producers and directors. Production companies shot quickly and cheaply, with minimal concern for genuine performance, quality, or artistic merit. Annette Haven categorically refused to accept these industry standard limitations. Her breakthrough role arrived in 1976 Inches, a film called Desires Within Young Girls, which became an unexpected critical and commercial phenomenon. The San Francisco Chronicle's respected film critic wrote that Haven possessed an unmistakably aristocratic presence that utterly transcends any genre limitations. This wasn't typical publicity language. This was a mainstream film historian acknowledging something unprecedented. Annette insisted on full rehearsal time before every shoot, something almost unheard of in fast-paced, independent productions. She meticulously studied each character's psychological motivations using Stanislavski method acting techniques. She collaborated directly with cinematographers on precise lighting setups and camera angles that would enhance emotional storytelling. Directors across the industry quickly discovered that giving Haven complete creative freedom consistently resulted in substantially better films and significantly bigger box office returns. By late 1977, she was commanding performance fees 5 times higher than industry standards, plus unprecedented contractual approval rights over script content, director selection, and final edit consultation. Films starring Annette Haven were selling out theatrical runs in every major American city. Individual productions were generating box office revenues exceeding $500,000, absolutely massive numbers for independent cinema in that era. Then something remarkable happened that the film industry had never witnessed before. Mainstream Hollywood critics and film historians began seriously discussing Haven's work in the same analytical framework they applied to actresses like Faye Dunaway and Diane Keaton. Gene Siskel, Roger Ebert's legendary colleague, stated in a 1978 Chicago Tribune interview that Annette Haven possessed more raw screen presence and technical acting ability than half the actresses currently working under major studio contracts. Here's what genuinely shocked the entire entertainment industry. Annette Haven was secretly studying advanced mainstream acting techniques during her limited free time. She was taking intensive workshops with former students of Lee Strasberg, the legendary acting teacher who had trained Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. She was analyzing performance techniques by studying Meryl Streep's early theatrical work and Faye Dunaway's character preparation methods. She wasn't just becoming a star within independent cinema. She was systematically training herself to become a world-class actress, using her current platform as both financial foundation and practical learning laboratory. Hollywood studio executives were watching, taking notes, and making quiet phone calls to her representatives. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Hollywood's most fascinating untold biography, hit that subscribe button right now. We release hidden film history documentaries every Wednesday and Saturday, covering the cinema rebels who changed everything. Let's continue Annette Haven's story. By 1978, Annette Haven had achieved something that seemed impossible just 4 years earlier. She had become the highest-paid performer in independent cinema history, with complete creative control over every project bearing her name. She was earning more annually than many mainstream Hollywood actresses under studio contracts. Then the phone calls started coming from the major studios. Universal Pictures offered her a substantial supporting role in a crime thriller starring established A-list actors. The script was excellent, the director respected, the salary impressive. Columbia Pictures wanted her for a drama about Las Vegas showgirls, offering a leading role that could have established her as a mainstream star overnight. Paramount made inquiries through intermediaries about her interest in a multi-picture contract. She held private meetings with senior agents from William Morris Agency and ICM, two of Hollywood's most powerful talent representatives. These agents genuinely believed she could successfully transition into major studio features. They had the connections, the strategy, and the confidence to make it happen. But every single offer came with one absolutely non-negotiable condition. She would have to publicly distance herself completely from her previous work. She would need to refuse all interview questions about her independent film career. She would essentially have to pretend that the last 4 years of her professional life had never existed. Hollywood wanted her extraordinary talent, but only if she was willing to completely erase her own history to get it. Annette Haven faced an impossible choice that would define the rest of her career and her legacy in film history. She could accept mainstream legitimacy and financial security by betraying the independent cinema community that had given her complete creative freedom and treated her as a serious artist. Or she could remain in a world that offered genuine artistic control and professional respect, but carried permanent social stigma and would likely close mainstream doors forever. She made a decision that stunned everyone in the entertainment industry. She would continue working exclusively in independent cinema, but only in high-budget productions with serious directors who shared her commitment to artistic quality over quick profits. The mainstream entertainment press called it professional suicide. Variety published an analysis claiming she was inexplicably squandering the most unprecedented crossover potential the industry has witnessed in decades. Hollywood insiders whispered that she would regret this decision for the rest of her life. But Annette Haven had calculated something that Hollywood's executives had completely failed to understand. Her real power came from being utterly irreplaceable within her current domain, not from becoming just another struggling actress competing for limited roles in theirs. She continued commanding top industry fees, choosing projects with extreme selectivity, and personally elevating the technical and artistic quality of every single film she touched. Film critics remained sharply divided. Some praised her unwavering artistic integrity and refusal to compromise her principles. Others claimed she was simply rationalizing a controversial choice because she feared mainstream competition. The controversy made her exponentially more famous. More national magazines wanted exclusive interviews. More theaters across America wanted to screen her films. Annette Haven had achieved something extraordinarily rare in entertainment history. She had successfully turned Hollywood's rejection into professional leverage and transformed industry prejudice into personal power. Annette Haven retired from performing in the mid-1980s, walking away from her career at the absolute height of her fame and earning potential. She had appeared in over 100 films during her decade-long career, working exclusively with directors who treated her as a creative collaborator rather than simply a performer following instructions. But her impact on film history extends far beyond her impressive filmography. Cinema historians and film scholars today credit Annette Haven with forcing a fundamental reconsideration of how the entertainment industry defines artistic legitimacy and performance quality. Her absolute insistence on professionalism, creative control, and artistic integrity raised production standards across the entire independent film industry during the 1970s Golden Age. Directors who later became mainstream Hollywood figures, including several who worked on Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights, specifically studied 1970s independent cinema to understand Haven's unique performance techniques. Anderson himself mentioned her in multiple interviews as a perfect example of undeniable screen presence and genuine acting talent appearing in unexpected places that conventional Hollywood completely overlooked. Tarantino has spoken extensively about how performers like Pam Grier embodied similar qualities to Annette Haven. When Tarantino cast Grier and Jackie Brown, he was deliberately celebrating actresses who projected elegance, intelligence, and strength within genres that mainstream Hollywood had systematically dismissed and devalued. Today, when you watch contemporary films that treat controversial subjects with genuine artistic seriousness instead of exploitation or sensationalism, you're seeing Annette Haven's lasting legacy. Her career proved definitively that talent and professionalism aren't determined by genre categories. They're determined entirely by the artist's commitment, preparation, and integrity. Annette Haven never received the Academy Award consideration or mainstream recognition that her acting ability unquestionably deserved. But she gained something perhaps more valuable than awards or celebrity. She maintained complete creative control over her own image, her career trajectory, and her artistic legacy throughout her entire professional life. In an entertainment industry built fundamentally on exploitation, power imbalances, and artistic compromise, Annette Haven exploited no one, least of all herself. Annette Haven proved that artistic integrity can exist anywhere that artists have the courage to demand it. Her biography reminds us that Hollywood doesn't define legitimacy or artistic value. Artists define it themselves through their choices, their standards, and their absolute refusal to compromise their principles for external validation. The next time you see a performer dismissed or devalued because of where they work or what genre they appear in, remember Annette Haven's story. Because sometimes, the real rebels are the ones who refuse to apologize for their own choices. This is Universal Desires, where we tell the film history stories that Hollywood forgot. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for new film history documentaries every Wednesday and Saturday.